Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Starcraft 2 Own It Shack. It is David here bringing you a Terran vs Protoss strategy video, and our Terran player is going to be VTavilo here at the top right. Protoss is going to be the red Protoss, all for one at the bottom left. This is Xel'Naga Caverns, and this is going to be all about Terran mech. Now before I get started here, I do want to send out a huge thanks to this man, VTavilo. Avilo sent me this replay along with a couple others for me to cast, and basically, if you don't know who Avilo is, he's a great Terran player, really creative, known for his interesting use of nukes. I'm sure many of you have seen his cast from MLG Columbus, really awesome games there. And if you don't know, he actually has a live stream, and I'm one of his biggest fans on that stream. I can tell you I watch almost every episode, and I really like to do that because he's a huge player of mech, tons of other strats. He does play standard sometimes, and if you are one of those players who does like my playstyle, you like, you know, the mech style and all the matchups, and you like different kinds of strats other than, you know, standard every time, then I really suggest you go check out Avilo's stream, because he does a great job of keeping you entertained while you're watching. He also does commentary while he's playing. Unlike other streams where it's simply just a person, you know, clicking randomly around the screen. No, Avilo actually talks you through what he's doing while he's playing. It's pretty awesome. And again, thank you so much to Avilo for providing me with this. I'm really looking forward to making this strategy video. So let's get right into this. As you can see, no gas at all. And you might think that's weird for mech, but no, don't worry. Avilo knows exactly what he's doing. He's going to go for that 2 racks opener. There's really no difference between his version of this and the one you'll see against Zerg. The only thing, and I like this, is that he does SimCity a bit with these racks, so that proxy gate rushes with Zealots are not going to be nearly as effective. They're going to have to squeeze through here to get to his mineral line, which is, you know, easy to block with a couple of SCVs. So I'm liking this already. Now, of course, this is going to have to transition into mech eventually, but in Terran vs Protoss, you simply can't rush for mech like you used to be able to in Brood War. It's just not strong enough. You need those Marines early, and this is going to let you get enough Marines to be, you know, to be relatively defended, while you can get that expansion, because 2 gas simply isn't enough for mech either, and it should make you pretty good to go, in my opinion, in transitioning into that mech. And in terms of the build order, do not worry, I will provide that for you in the description of this video. So I suggest you just, you know, pay attention right now. Don't worry about these timings. It's all going to be laid out for you later. So as you can see, just continuing to get Marines here with his Barracks. Also, scouting around with this SCV is always a good idea. If you can save this SCV for later, you can even come and check the timing of his expansion. But I do digress. As for now, not much going on. Not much at all. Of course, he's starting to save up for that command center. And that's really where the build starts to pick up and becomes a little more complicated. So, first things first, down goes the CC at about 27 supply. And this is, yeah, actually forget that. That'll be a whole other video. Never mind, I just thought of something. But anyway, the important thing here is that he is taking his gases immediately after this expansion. This is so he can rush to factory tech as soon as possible while still producing Marines with these barracks. Now, the other thing that's great about having 2 barracks like this is you can use them as add-on whores, so to speak. If you don't know what that is, if you're new to the game, basically the add-on whore is a building that makes all the add-ons for other buildings to use. In this case, these barracks can make tech labs and reactors for the factories later, and that's really important because with mech it takes a long time to produce those units. You don't want to waste additional time waiting for add-ons to build. So I love that, absolutely love that style that Avilo uses. Also, the engineering bay here is quite early than you might otherwise see, and the reason for that is because of Dark Templar rushes. This is going to let him get that missile turret up in time, just in case that is what happens. And our Protoss player did go for that fast gas, so we don't know that it was a 3-gate expand like we see here. For all we know, it could be that Dark Templar rush, or even worse, a Blink Stalker rush, and these all require different responses than what you see here. But anyway, the turret's now going up. Factory's going down, and after these 2 Marines is when Avilo is going to want to get those add-ons I was talking about. Going to get a tech lab and reactor. The factory can immediately swap on when it's done with the tech lab and produce a siege tank and siege tech right off the bat. That's very important because those upgrades are going to let you be safe at your natural, at the low ground. Also, this wall-in is pretty good in my opinion. I think that more Terran players should do wall-ins like this with this particular style. With bio, no, I don't suggest this. Now, as you can see, there goes the siege tank and siege tech, and you know these barracks can continue to produce marines. That's no problem at all. And eventually, once he gets that siege tank out, he's going to want to take the low ground here, but not before dropping a scan on his opponent. That's something I've noticed VTavilo likes to do. He drops a scan at about 8 minutes, or at least he will in this game, and he does have enough energy right now. And he's going to drop it right about here, and I'll discuss what he sees with that. So let's just get ready here. And if we look at his vision, when he scans, he's going to see a bunch of sentries and a zealot. Now, what does this tell him? Well, seeing all these sentries early, as well as that warp in, huge mistake by Alpha 1. You should have warped. He should have warped that in over here so VTavilo couldn't see it. But this unit composition indicates 3-gate expand. You can infer that very easily. And the other thing you can infer from this is that he's probably going to be following up with a robo, because he just doesn't have any stalkers mixed in with this, and robos are expensive on the minerals. So that's something I think that he can safely assume. And there is the robotics. Now what this is going to do, because he's teching up to Colossi, it's going to allow VTavilo to hit a nice timing when Thermal Lance is not researched yet and when there aren't enough Colossi on the field to properly defend his push. Just let him do a little bit of pressure, maybe do some damage, and it's really how you want to play mech. Now at this point, looks like it's about 9 minutes 30 seconds that VTavilo starts to add on more factories, and this barracks is going to be producing reactors for both of them, so that you can, get those Hellions out immediately. He has floated out this in the meantime, only taking 1 gas for now, because the Hellions are very mineral intensive, so you don't want to rush into this too fast. Eventually though, I think it's going to be a good idea to take that. Now, supply depot is going down here. This is, of course, to wall off. With mech, you're very immobile, so it makes perfect sense to wall off here so that proxy pylons back here can't warp in zealots that harass your mineral line during the battle when you need your Hellions right there. So, that's pretty much what's going on for now. These bunkers are always great. These can be salvaged later even if you want to produce some more Hellions. And the typical timing VTavilo likes to hit with these units is about when he has 5 siege tanks. That's when Thermal Lance is not completed yet and there should be only about 1 Colossus out. In the case of this Protoss, he's going for double robo, so you can replenish those Colossi a bit faster, but that will naturally cut into his gateway unit count. In fact, if you're playing on ladder, you can get a lot of free wins with mech, because people will do... they'll try and counter bio when they should be countering mech instead. And just in case you're a Protoss player out there, don't just mass Immortals to counter mech. Colossi are the proper response. The Immortals are great early game, but eventually you get Ghosts and they completely suck at that point. So I don't suggest massing the Immortals. I like this style that All for One is using. So now that that Infernal Pre-igniter is almost done, and he's got those 5 siege tanks I was discussing, 5th one is just lagging behind there. VTavilo's going to go and do some nice, decent pressure right here. He's going to be able to attack this army head-on. You can clearly see here the difference in army size. VTavilo's going to win this battle hands down. But, of course, being the good Protoss player All for One is, he forces a siege and then backs up. And if your opponent is really good, you're not going to be able to kill him with this push. He's not going to just sit at his natural and let you push up and siege here. He's going to do exactly what this guy's doing, forcing sieges and unsieges, and just, making you go through the annoying process of continuing to push forward slowly, instead of just one big A move to win. Now, you can send a Marine down here to check this out. If VTavilo had denied this expansion, would have been absolutely huge. So the units are now heading up here, so you're going to want to unsiege, bring that back up to defend, and this is really a positional battle, so if you like Terran versus Terran, you're probably going to like this style, Terran versus Protoss. And once those tanks are sieged, Protoss can't engage. If he had though, you want to focus down the Colossi with your siege tanks, and maybe even do some Hellion harassment in the meantime. This is another one of those huge advantages to mech. As you can see, VTavilo's able to just send in a bunch of Hellions when Protoss was out of position up here and do some economic damage. If we take a look at the unit count, look at that, 41 probes to 56 SCVs. VTavilo just pulled way ahead by simply putting some pressure on and forcing his army forward like this. And you know what, to be honest, that's something I suggest all of you do with your mech. You absolutely need to do economic damage to your Protoss or you will get behind. It's that simple. They can make their units way faster. You need to stifle them, and this is exactly how you do it. You can also, look at that, he's leaving one Hellion back there to just take care of business. Now, throughout all of this, he's already completed that command center for his third base, and that's going to let him get, somewhat ahead here because of all those probes that he killed. Keep in mind, I really think it's important to do some damage with that first push. Don't just go down there, siege up, and leave. You really should be forcing an engagement that's unfavorable for him, or you will probably be somewhat behind, because he did take that third base earlier. So with this Rocks gun, taking the gold is going to be no problem at all. There you go. Transferring a bunch of SCVs in a moment here probably. Yeah, there they come. And the next transition here, as you can see, he's got starports up. This is to deal with the Colossi. You need the starports because Colossi can actually snipe Hellions without getting in range of the siege tanks. Of course, the Vikings are going to be able to prevent that by just camping out here in this little crevice. So that is the proper response to Colossi. Don't rush Ghosts, don't rush upgrades. This is a great idea in my opinion. And with the double robo, he can even get Immortals too. Immortal Colossi, it's tough because they both force different responses from the Terran player. Now with the Cell Nugget Tower, and also, check this out, lots of meat shield buildings here are going to soak up damage for your siege tanks and screw with the AI. Really important, but anyway, with that tower, he can see when Protoss tries to engage here, and unsiege and reposition. There he goes again. VTavilo is going to send his units over here, get in position to deal with that. Should be no problem at all. There you go. And, Protoss is going to engage here, it looks like, but to be quite frank, if you are a Protoss player, you should not be engaging in choke points like this. Also notice, armories are up. These upgrades, there's a second armory somewhere, and the 1-1 upgrades, as you can see right there, they're crucial. Absolutely huge. If you can get 3-3 mech, you've already won the game, in my opinion. So with that forward scan, going to give you the vision to get free shots off before his army has even touched yours. And by engaging in this choke point, Protoss is really putting himself at a disadvantage. The Vikings are able to camp over the Colossi, sniping them down while the siege tanks lay down the law against everything else. And you can really start to see how well these units go together. It might look like Protoss is crushing through this, but if you look at the units lost, you can clearly see there's a huge advantage in terms of in VTavilo's favor. And once the Immortals' shields are down, they do become quite useless as well. Now, throughout all of this, we do have more units coming out. 2 factories were dropped at the time of this third base coming up, which is important because you need to replenish those siege tanks. And once those extra units come out, this should be cleaned up quite easily. Without the Colossi, the Protoss army is not even half as strong. And there you go. Also with those upgrades finishing, going to give VTavilo a very nice advantage. And if we just look at how everything stands after this, 74 SCVs to 50 probes. There was a Hellion over here harassing. I've watched this in advance. You got some kills, and that's why you see that difference. Harassing during those battles, absolutely huge. Separates the men from the boys in terms of mech. So, a really solid play from VTavilo. Planetaries are a necessity with mech, obviously. You can't be everywhere at once, and if Dark Templar come into the mix, it's going to be very helpful to deal with that. Meanwhile, pushing forward even further, going to be trying to engage here, but like I said, without Colossi, just not going to do it. Hellions you should be focusing the Immortals with, tanks should focus the Stalkers, and then everyone's happy. So, VTavilo cleans it up quite nicely, and that's going to let him push forward and retake this very crucial position here, especially for Naga Caverns. Also take note, he has stifled his Viking production at this point because he does see that only Immortals are coming out from his opponent. And what that's going to let him do, it's going to free up some gas so he can make these, where are those, Ghost Academies, right there. And, Ghosts are the counters to Immortals, like I said before. And that, it's going to let him get those Ghosts out. And with proper EMPs, this army should absolutely demolish a non-Colossus army. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. More factories coming down now. as he takes his 4th base. You can really see VTavilo has everything timed out nicely, and he's going to make one strong push with that 1-1 against the 3rd base here of Protoss. He's done so much damage the whole game, more probes going down now, that he should be able to crush this army. And remember, mech isn't all about one battle, it is about getting small advantages and slowly pushing your way forward to victory. So if you do like the huge battle style, don't try this. But honestly, I love this style. It's so fun to play, way more fun to watch, and way more satisfying to win with. So now VTavilo can move forward with those Hellions, let them soak up the damage here, get those siege tanks maybe a tiny bit closer. Look at that, the Hellions absolutely melt everything here, even without the siege tanks helping out. And you know, once these Immortals are down, it's going to be pretty much it. Also, I do want to point out, he was getting those ghost upgrades during all of this, just in case this push didn't work out. And yeah, Protoss tries to warp and stuff over here, it's not going to work at this point. And VTavilo forces All For One to leave the game, and takes out a nice W. So I really hope you enjoyed this strategy video, and I will be making more VTavilo vids in the future. So thanks again to VTavilo for providing me with this. Go check out his stream, link will be in the description. And once again, I hope to see you again for another daily dose of Ownage.